Hope Springs Eternal, the Maryland Osprey and Nature Festival. The days of winter in the Chesapeake Bay region are short and oftentimes gloomy. As temperatures drop, we retreat to the coziness of our homes. Migratory birds and other migratory wildlife travel thousands of miles south to find the resources to survive and wait for the warmth of spring to return. Spring signals a new beginning and renewed hope for all of us. The ospreys are returning to their birth home, and spring signals the Maryland Osprey and Nature Festival, held on the first Saturday in April every year.
An osprey is a kind of unique bird of prey that is the only, and I say diurnal bird of prey, that eats fish. There is an owl in Africa that eats only fish, but the osprey is truly, really the most widespread, one of the most widespread birds of prey in the world, next to a peregrine falcon. But the osprey unique feature is that it requires fish to survive. That's all it eats. Ospreys have a very unique way of fishing and hovering and diving in to catch them with their talons. They have probably one of the best eyes in nature to spot fish from sometimes more than 100 feet in the air, dive down at 30 to 40 miles an hour and strike the water with their talons first. They are fairly waterproof with their oily feathers. They have other adaptations like a longer than normal digestive system to break down the bones and scales of the fish. Their talons, they have one reversible talon that can help them manipulate and grab the fish from all four angles. My name is Greg Kearns, park naturalist at Patuxent River Park under the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. I started with ospreys and my interest in them back in probably 1983 as a young summer intern at Patuxent River Park, and a fellow biologist, birdbander, took me out and I tagged my first one that year, and that started a lifelong interest in the bird. They mainly cover their eye with a nictitating membrane as they strike the surface to protect their vision, but they can see below the surface. If it depends on the clarity of the water. If the water is let's say it's 2 feet deep, that's about the limit of their penetration into the water surface. They can only go down so far. Their legs are about 1 foot long, and their talons will snap shut, and timed out, it's been at 3/100ths of a second. The snap instant, it's like an involuntary reflex when they snap onto that fish. They first hover, and they hover in place. Their wings have a very flexible outer wrist joint that allows them to hover better than many other birds of prey and be able to keep their head still so they can spot the fish. Imagine if you're moving around and your head's moving, it's hard to spot an object below you. So when they hover, it allows them to focus on an area where they see movement or a fish below the surface. Some people even believe the osprey might have an oily coating on its eye that acts as a polarizing lens, like we would wear a pair of sunglasses polarized, and maybe allows to cut the glare down for them as they're looking at the shiny surface of the water. Even when it's rough, waves, ripples, it's quite amazing that they can spot a fish from, say 100 to 130, 140 feet up. I've seen them sometimes. They also have a brow ridge that over their eye that helps shade their eye from the sun and the glare. They have a dark eye patch that goes back from their eye to the back of their head.
Did you know that the Chesapeake Bay region hosts the largest nesting population of osprey in the world? Researchers and scientists have been studying the osprey for decades. At one time, there were as many as 10,000 osprey nesting and breeding in the Chesapeake Bay region each year. However, studies have shown that the current nesting population in this region is at risk, and the osprey are in peril due to starvation.
My name is Johanna Ikaza. About 13, 14 years I've lived in Southern Maryland, and with my husband we started the Maryland Osprey Nature Festival. Really the reason we started it was an incident that happened in Southern Maryland, I guess about 4 years ago now, a little over 4 years ago. And it was just really lack of education is what it came down to, which is why we started the festival. There were juvenile ospreys that were removed from their nest, and they were eventually euthanized. And really if those individuals who were just doing their job, they were doing what they were told to do, if they had a little bit more education and understood that if they gave those osprey 2 or 3 more weeks, they would have fledged on their own, and there was no reason to euthanize them at the time. So hearing about that, it was really upsetting for those of us who watch osprey or bird enthusiasts in the area. and we knew that we had to do something about it. Getting upset, yelling at the people that did it was not going to change anything. So we thought, how can we change? How can we make a difference? And it came down to this festival. Everybody got into it for their own reason. That was the reason that we conceptually started it. But from there, it was a grassroots effort, and we have many people that have come on board for other reasons. The educational side of it, the conservation side of it, the celebration side of it. The festival itself is a lot of fun. This year, we've moved it to North Beach due to growth, which is a great problem to have. We originally hosted it right in Southern Maryland in a little community. And because we've been so successful in educating and getting out our word and having families and individuals understand what we're trying to do, we needed to bring it to a larger area. And so that's why we're here in North Beach.
We're excited to announce the Osprey event coming to our town. And we're very blessed for the leadership to come meet with us because we embrace the osprey. We have a lot of ospreys nets around. There's naming of ospreys. Osprey is a well-known bird in our area. Matter of fact, I can't tell you how many times, if you go to social media, you'll see the photos of the parents coming back into town, building their nests in the same locations, the babies being born, the excitement of our residents and our guests coming to our town just to watch the ospreys. We have 2 very large ponds that are stocked with koi and 5 different types of fish. And Osprey has treated that like a buffet every once in a while. And but they don't take a lot. They're fine. It's nature. But I can't tell you how many times you will hear about the osprey. And just understanding the background on the osprey, where they travel to, why they come back, and the mating and the whole process. We're excited. It's an event that I think we're going to attract a lot of people here, which is good for our businesses and our community, but also bring awareness to such a special bird, the osprey.
My mom was a very active birder. We had, there were always books, or she was identifying, or we had baby ducks that were, on the property. She would have 3 or 4 levels of corn, from the mashed to the cracked to the full, kernels. And we were very active at our property in Annapolis. That's as I was growing up, feeding them, making sure that these birds were good between, ducks and geese and whoever she was hosting at the time. But always the osprey was part of that focus. My name is Chris McNellis. I'm a 30-plus year practitioner in the real estate services industry. I have a 10-person team known as McNellis and Associates, and I work with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, PenFed Realty in the Southern Maryland area. I became involved with the Maryland Osprey Nature Festival through friends in the Drum Point community. Sal Ikaza asked me to consider being on the board of directors for the event, and my business, my life, and everything is always centered around the Chesapeake region. I mean, I've grown up here. It is my recreation, it is my view, it is the sustenance for my business because I sell so many water privileged and waterfront properties, and it is a backdrop to living. And without osprey, eagles, and other creatures that are known for their abundance in the Chesapeake Bay region, I don't know what life would be like. It certainly wouldn't be as interesting. So I have it in me to make sure that those creatures are appreciated, and there is some conservation effort and a give back to the region for what it has given to me.
The Maryland Osprey and Nature Festival is a 501c3. All of the members are volunteers. In addition to educating the public about the osprey and the need for increased conservation efforts, the festival organizers donate to several organizations each year, and that includes the Owl Moon Raptor Center, located in Central Maryland.
So just hold the towel and the legs together. Gotcha. Okay. And you want to put a little bit of tension on the towel so that he doesn't feel like he can flap those wings. Okay. Tighten it up a little bit.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Shoemaker, and I'm the Executive Director of Owl Moon Raptor Center. The Osprey Festival has supported us for several years now. It's nice to have a festival twice a year, and we have our own festival, and then follow that in the spring with the Osprey Festival. It's really helpful in raising funds to support our work. It allows us to do what we do, basically everything that we do. It allows us to hire people in this case, and we also have medications to pay for. We have all the dressings and vet bills. We have and a lot of medication bills. And we just added an X-ray room and an X-ray machine thanks to donations. We also have added now a surgery room, and a food. We're building these out in the barn, which is right out here, and now we're at a point where we're getting to a point actually where we're growing and we need to move into a new facility at some point. We need to build something bigger. We rehabilitate ospreys, a lot of them. This year we took in over 600. We're at 612 now, which is a large number. It's quite a bit more than we normally have taken in the past years. The most we've done before that is about 525, I think, or something like that. So we're going to be well over 600. But we have had more this year than we've had ever before. And a lot of them we feel like it's due to starvation. I think they were abandoned from their parents because the parents couldn't provide for them and they had to provide for themselves, so they had to give up feeding them because there was not enough food due to menhaden overfishing. We believe that's a big problem for the osprey, and we're working on trying to get that recognized by the public and by the powers that be to regulate the amount of fish that industry can take out of the mouth of the bay, which is in Virginia. They're not allowed to take menhaden in Maryland, but they are allowed to take They are allowed to take them from Virginia waters, and so they're coming with huge industrial ships and taking the fish out indiscriminately. They're taking literally millions of menhaden from the mouth of the bay just as they're moving into the bay, and so we've had a loss of food supply over the last few years, and it's showing in the number of starving baby osprey that we receive.
To put on a festival like this, it requires resources, and we really need those like-minded people to come out and sponsor us, because we need those resources to spread the word, to educate our young minds that are coming to the festival, that are engaging in the process, that are seeing those live raptors and are wide-eyed and are going to want to grow up and do something and be engaged in the community and efforts.
To learn more about the Maryland Osprey and Nature Festival, please visit our website or scan the QR code to discover volunteer opportunities, make donations, or become a sponsor.
Eventually those eyes will turn orange and then red. You're one of them, but otherwise. And you can see this really shows you the long tail of the Cooper's hawk and their flat little head.